What is going on, guys? Happy Monday, and welcome back to yet another North to South show here presented by Touchdowns to Home Runs, where we talk SEC football everything. Now, today, I just said we're going to talk SEC football everything like we do every show, but I have something a bit different to start it off. Is my mic muted? I'm seeing JH Sports down below, very echoey. Here, that's fine. Hopefully it's better now. I apologize for that. Hopefully the mic is fixed now. But as I was saying, I was talking about how we usually talk SEC football, everything. But today I'm going to switch things up because it's my show and I can do that. We're still going to talk SEC, but starting off with the first segment today that we are going to talk about ranking some of the SEC stadiums in college baseball, which is going to be interesting. We're going to rank all of them. It's going to be an amazing first segment. And then our second segment, we will be getting into talking about the Alabama-Florida game. We're going to do a short little preview on that. We already have some people in the chat saying hello. We have Sam Bostic, and then we have JH Sports. What's up going on, guys? I appreciate you guys tuning in. And if you are also watching and haven't already dropped the hello or what's up or whatever you want to call it in the chat, please do, because I love and appreciate all the support from you guys, and I want to say hi to you back. So I appreciate all of you guys being here. We are in for a great show today, a great Monday. I just got my double vaccination today. I got vaxxed for the second time. My arm's a bit sore, but we're going to get through the show. The show must go on as always, and I'm very, very excited for what we got in store today. Talking some college baseball, obviously, some big upsets happening in the super regionals and all that fun stuff. And then we're going to talk the Alabama-Florida game, which is probably one of a top three biggest game of the season in the SEC. So we got a packed show today, guys. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this one. So starting off, let's get into this. Starting off with ranking the SEC stadiums. Now, this is one that I've already done this. If you've watched this channel for a while, this was a video that I did early January 2020. Like, this was a long, long time ago, at least for my opinion. I know it's only 2021, but that was January. It's a year and a half ago. And after this season of watching college baseball, that season, before that point when I made the first video, I hadn't watched that much college baseball. It's hard to get it up here in Canada, but I watched the Gamecocks occasionally. I kind of followed them, but it wasn't like I was watching it every single series and everything like that. Now, this season was different. I was able to get a lot of games up here, so I watched a lot more college baseball, and I realized that my rankings of the SEC stadiums in terms of baseball were not how I feel about them now. So today, that's what we were going into an updated version of my SEC baseball stadium rankings. And starting off just like how I did, we're going to do the exact same rankings as last time, how we did it last time. I'm not including South Carolina. Obviously, I am a big South Carolina Gamecocks fan. I think the world of Founders Park. It is a beautiful baseball stadium, but to avoid any type of bias, Founders Park will not be in this. I just didn't want to do that. Although I don't know if I'd rank this number one, but I definitely put it in the top three. And just to eliminate that bias, because I am a huge Gamecocks fan, I will not be doing Founders Park. But let's start off with number 13. So we're going 13-1, and starting off with 13, we have, let me pull it up. We have Taylor Stadium. Obviously, this is the home of the Missouri Tigers, and there's nothing bad about this stadium. Like, all these are really, really nice stadiums. But for an SEC level, we all know the best conference for college baseball. It showed by the amount of teams that we got into the postseason this year, or the SEC did. I apologize for using we, because I know that upsets some people when I refer to my team or the conference as we, so I apologize for that. Missouri Stadium, I mean, just simple standings, nothing too much. You got a simple outfield. You got some like practice facilities in the back. I just did feel like that there's just more with the other stadiums. Not much wrong to be said about the stadium, but there's just a lot more with the other stadiums that we're going to see on this list. At number 12, we have Plainsman Park, and this was one that was actually really, really high, a lot higher than it is now on my initial SEC baseball stadium rankings. I just looked at it. I was really, really focusing on the football stadium, obviously Jordan-Hare Stadium in the background there, as my main focal point for putting that so high last time. And just looking at it, it's not a huge stadium at all. It's really not that big compared to some of the other ones. You'd like to see a bit more. And obviously, I was a big fan of being able to see Jordan-Hare Stadium. But now that I look back at it, I kind of take back why I put it so high initially. So I will be putting that one at number 12. Now we're going on to number 11. And at number 11, we have Hawkins Field, obviously the home to the most dominant team in all of SEC baseball. I don't know what it is about this stadium. It might just be because it's connected to the football stadium, even though you're going to hear me multiple times talk about how much I love the stadiums that you could see the football stadium in. There's a difference when you're connected to it and you don't really get a view of it. You just get a view of the under part of it and everything like that. I'm not a huge fan of this. I like the bigger fence out in left field. Obviously, that's protecting the basketball arena and everything like that. But the stands out in right field just seem a bit lazy. It's just an incomplete stadium because you can obviously tell that that's just a prop up stands there. And I mean, it is just not that big. But Vanderbilt does have the best baseball team in all of college baseball. Usually they're the most, what do you want to call it, most prominent, prevalent college baseball program in the SEC and in college baseball. So I wouldn't be too mad if I'm a Vanderbilt fan, but I'm not a huge fan of Hawkins Field. That means coming in at number 10, we have Foley Field in Georgia. I really like the landscape behind it and everything. It gives you something new. You get trees. Obviously, the leaves are all falling on this picture. But I think if you get a picture with the trees fully bloomed and everything like that, I think it looks a lot nicer. You're not just looking into vast space. So I really like that. My only problem with this is the stands just feel very concrete, and it's just small. It's just a lot of concrete, a lot of gray concrete to look at, when there's other stadiums that just fill up the seats completely and stuff like that, where in this Georgia stadium you have lots of just concrete steps. You have big concrete walls with like Georgia on it. In some places they don't even say Georgia on it. So I think that's what's really drawing me away from this stadium. Coming in at, what is this, number 9, I'm pretty sure. Coming in at number 9, yes, we have Kentucky Proud Park. First of all, the field alone, I think, is definitely better than a lot of the stadiums. I love the blue color. I love the blue color all around the stadium. I love the scoreboard and everything like that. I love the batter's eye, obviously, with that nice Kentucky Wildcat logo on it. I am a huge fan of that logo. You got the checkerboard out in the left field and maybe the right field bullpen. I can't tell from this picture. But from a field-only perspective, looking at the field, very pleasing to the eye. Now, the landscape and everything behind it, I think, is why it drops this low, because you're really only just looking at trees. Like, I know I just said with Georgia, I like that and everything, but you got some kind of hills going on. You got a couple of houses and stuff back there. This, you're just looking at plain trees. So I think that that's what's really holding me back from putting this Kentucky Proud Park a bit higher than what it is. Next, coming up at number 8. Number 8, we have Bluebell Park, obviously home of the Texas A&M Aggies. And you obviously get Kyle Field in the background. I am a huge fan of that. I love the standings. Again, what I said about Georgia, these just feel like you fill up the seats so much more. You're actually putting seats in the stand, and you don't have those like big concrete blocks in this stadium. You actually see standings and everything like that. One thing that I don't like, and obviously this is nothing that you can change if you're Texas A&M, the 2 practice facilities out in right center. If you got rid of those, you'd have so much better of a view of Kyle Field, but obviously you can't change that. But overall, I think that this is just a really nice and quality ballpark. Coming in at now number 7. Number 7, we have Lindsey Nelson Stadium, and this is one that definitely shot up my list as the season went on. I don't know what it was last season that really, or last time I made this video, that really took me down on the notch on this list. I don't think I was really looking at the stadium. I really just looked at the field, but like, I really like the brick facade and everything of the stadium. Again, comparing it to that Georgia one. The Georgia one was just really gray and concrete. I love the brick style all around the stadium. It makes it look really nice. And even though you just get trees in the landscape, it's the mountains. It's what Tennessee is. They really, really pride themselves as being from Rocky Top. So I love that, having that kind of landscape in the background. It looks a lot better than just a couple trees and then just a vast field. So I think Tennessee Stadium has definitely shot off my list, and there has been some crazy, crazy games this season. I can tell you that. Lots of walk-off home runs for Tennessee this season, and they're moving on to Omaha. I wish them the best of luck, even though I wouldn't say I'm the biggest Tennessee Volunteers fan, but it's good to see SEC teams doing well. Let's see. Now we're going off to, what is this? Number 6. Number 6, we have Sewell Thomas Stadium, home of the Alabama Crimson Tide. I love how they have standings out in the outfield. I think you're going to start to see a lot more of that as these go on once you get into the top half of these stadiums. But I think the scoreboard's really nice. Again, I chose this picture at night, which probably wasn't, it was the best picture I could find of the stadium. But there isn't really anything in the back, which I think the other stadiums really do have well, other than just it stands out in right field. I think that this is just a classic stadium, and it just looks really nice. Again, you got lots of standings, you got lots of seats and everything like that. I think that makes it look really, really nice instead of just having huge concrete blocks. I feel like I'm going to be talking about that the whole video, but I think Alabama Stadium is really, really nice. Coming in at number 5, we have Florida Ballpark. Now, this is the newer stadium. Last time out, this was not built when I made this video, so I think it's called McKeithen Stadium. I'm pretty sure that's what the old Florida Ballpark was called. This one, the standings alone, there isn't that much. You only have seating behind home and then just a first and third base, so I'm not a huge fan of that, but I love the berms and the lawns all the way around the ballpark. I think that that's a great touch and just great for general admission when you could just pull up there with your family, your friends, and sit on the lawn. I think that that's something really, really interesting, and it reminds me a lot of spring baseball, like spring training baseball. I see a lot of stadiums having that, and I love what we call in Canada, we call those Muskoka chairs. You got those orange, or they might be called cottage chairs for you guys. I'm not sure, but I love the alternating colors, the orange and the blue back there. I think that that's a really unique feature. You got palm trees all around, and I think the scoreboard looks really, really nice. This is all in all just a really clean looking stadium, and compared to some of the other ones that don't look as clean, this one was just made and it looks really modern. It's a really great iteration of a smaller ballpark, so I really love this stadium. Coming in at number 4, we have Swayze Stadium, or Swayze Field. Is it Swayze? Yeah, Swayze Field, home of the Ole Miss Rebels. Watch any game here. Like, this isn't even related to the stadium. Watch any game here, and that student section out in right field has to be one of the greatest atmospheres in all of college baseball. When they hit a home run and the whole beer shower thing, unbelievable. But again, this stadium has seating going all the way around. Absolutely love that. I love the nice scoreboard out there and left. The landscape and everything. Yes, in right field, you just see a bunch of trees, but you start to see some buildings as you go on to left field and everything like that. Old historic brick buildings. Love that. And the stands, there's just stands everywhere. They got multiple levels. It just looks really, really nice. And for a college stadium, this is definitely impressive. You also got another thing that I really like. I'm not sure if that's a screen or not, but if it is a screen, which I think it is, off to right field, in foul territory, I think that's a screen on the side of the building. So having multiple screens here, I think, is also amazing for a college baseball stadium. Really, really love this field, as well as I love the Ole Miss colors. Their powder blue baseball uniforms have to be one of the best in college baseball. Absolutely love those. Coming in at number 3 now, we have my old number 1, Alex Box Stadium. And I think why I put this number 1 last time was, again, I was really caught up with having Death Valley in center field, which I still love. I still think that's an amazing feature, but the stadium alone is still really, really nice. I just had to put the other two above it because looking at it from a stadium as a whole, I just felt like the other two were amazing. But man, you're going to get some of the best views in all of college baseball from this stadium. I absolutely love it. I love the big scoreboard. You got seating that goes all the way around. I think Alex Box Stadium is definitely one of the more premier SEC stadiums in all the SEC. So great job here. Again, this dropped 2 spots, but the other two just really grew on me, and I felt like I had to put them above Alex Box in this case. Coming in at number 2, we have Baum Walker Stadium. Arkansas, first of all, Arkansas fans, I apologize for, and I feel bad for you guys that you guys got kicked out of super regional round. That was really, really tough. I saw cops like signing autographs for kids like an hour after the game. Watching him walk off the field for the last time at Baum Walker was really tough to watch because obviously he meant a lot to that team and the fans loved him. That Arkansas team this year, man, they got some sluggers and they were a fun team to watch, a really, really fun team. So it sucks that it had to come to the end of the road, but their stadium, I love the standings out in left field. They always pack that. It looks like they always have kind of a tailgate out there, and I really like that. You got some nice buildings out in right field. I love the scoreboard out in right field and how it says Baum Stadium with in stadium. The A is the Arkansas baseball logo. Absolutely love that. And they just pack this place all the time, man. I love the box seats that go all the way around. This is just a really, really nice and classic small baseball stadium in comparison to MLB stadiums, but you look at this in college baseball terms, and this is a big stadium. Absolutely love it. Baum Walker is my number 2 stadium, and that leaves me for my number 1. Mississippi State fans will be happy with me because I finally turned around and realized that the dude is the best college baseball stadium in all the SEC, and I honestly think in all of college baseball, man, like this is almost at the level of being I don't want to say MLB ballpark. If you add seats on like more in the outfield and everything like that, and maybe behind the plate, we can start talking MLB. But if you were to take this and this was to have more capacity at an MLB level, like if this was a 30,000 people stadium, I think this only holds around like 15,000. This goes right up there with some of the greatest ballparks in the MLB. Like this place is phenomenal. My favorite part is definitely the seats out in left field. I have no clue if that's like an apartment building or that's just special box seating, but I absolutely love that look. The big scoreboard out in right field. You got seating that goes all the way around the stadium, and they did lots of renovations out there. They got like that porch thing out in right field. Absolutely love that. But all in all, you got 2 levels of seating. This place just looks so clean and an amazing place to watch a ball game because this Mississippi State baseball program has been dominant the last couple of seasons, and they will continue to be and keep playing in this great stadium because Dudy Noble Field, in my opinion, is the best stadium in all the SEC. So that is finishing up my segment of ranking the SEC stadiums. Let me know in the comments, guys. Who do you think has the best stadium? All that fun stuff. I'd love to hear from you guys. And you know what? Now we'll take some fan questions before we get into my next segment of talking about the Florida and Alabama game. So lots to come up still, but I'll say hi to everyone. I appreciate you guys coming in. I saw a comment from Rams House. Rams House, how's it going? I appreciate you tuning in. Anyone else, if you're in this video or in the chat, let me know. I'd love to say hi to you guys. Appreciate everyone tuning in. We have Sam Bostic. South Carolina won the last College World Series at Rosenblatt Stadium and the first in T-Mobile Stadium in Omaha, of course. Man, could we go back to the good old days? It was really, really tough watching South Carolina lose in the regionals to we lost to Old Dominion on the Saturday night, which was such a tight game. It was a pitcher's duel. We just couldn't hit, and it was the same thing the next day against Virginia. Just really, really hard to watch, especially as a Gamecocks fan. But I'm excited for next year. Obviously, I think the pitching will still be really, really good. It's just the hitting has got to turn around at some point for the Gamecocks if we want to make a run at Omaha at some point in time, which I hope in the next 4 years will happen. We will get to Omaha. Other than that, if we don't have anyone else with a question or anything like that, we will get into our next segment. Our next segment, so on this channel and everything in this North to South show, everything that we've been doing, we kind of started off with the segment of doing the best versus the rest, which was talking about an out-of-conference SEC game. So an SEC team playing an out-of-conference opponent, and I kind of shied away from doing the rivalry games yet. I more went for the ones that were just scheduled and are more that happen on a very rare occasion. Like you got games like Texas, Arkansas, you got Georgia, Clemson, obviously, you got Auburn, Penn State, games like that broke a lot of those down. And I think I want to get into now as we go on with this show, as I've done pretty much all the games that I want to do for the out-of-conference games for the SEC. I want to start breaking down the biggest SEC games that we have upcoming this season. And what better way to start by starting off with the Week 3 showdown. The biggest, I think easiest to say, the biggest cross-divisional game of the whole season in the SEC. We have Alabama traveling to Gainesville to take on the Florida Gators in what should be a thriller in the 3:30 CBS spot. It has already been determined, 3:30 CBS, and I cannot wait. The first CBS game of the season, and it's going to be a dandy because I tell you, this was the SEC championship last year. We all know that. Both of these teams come in, obviously, with lots of talent lost from last season. I could name all the guys and stuff like that. Like, I'll just go through Mac Jones, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle. You're going to have Najee Harris. And then Florida, obviously, offensively, you're going to have Kyle Trask, Kyle Pitts. You're going to have Kadarius Toney. Guys like that. Big, I didn't even name any of the defensive players either. Like, you got Surtain, you got Marco Wilson. You got a bunch of big defensive players as well. And like a lot of guys on the offensive line, especially for Alabama. Leatherwood. You could go Landon Dickerson. I don't want to keep rambling on what they had last year because we are all talking about this year. In my opinion, this game should be the College Game Day game. I don't see, this might be my SEC bias, but I don't see how any other game takes College Game Day. The only one that scares me and gives me any bit of doubt about that is that Auburn and Penn State play on ABC at 7:30, and obviously that is looking like it's going to be a whiteout game. So since the game is on ABC and ABC is a part of ESPN and everything, and we all know Game Day likes to tend towards going to games that are on their own networks, I think that might be a bit of concern to me. But the only other one I have on this list is Oklahoma, Nebraska, which is on Fox. It's a noon game. But other than that, I think Alabama, Florida should definitely be the college game day game. So it's a pretty big game. Pretty big game for these two teams coming up to this point. Both teams, in my opinion, have to be undefeated at this point. Obviously, I think Alabama probably plays the toughest opponent early on. They play first game of the season. They play on Miami, and then you've got Mercer after that. In my opinion, Alabama should get through both of those games untouched. They should be completely fine, undefeated, without a scratch, as I say. And then we have Florida. They take on FAU, and then they travel to Tampa Bay to take on USF, which should be interesting. They go to Raymond James Stadium. I still think that Florida cakewalks through both of those games. There's no reason why I see either of these two teams having a loss going into this game. So right now, at this current time, I have both of these teams going into that game as 2-win teams and 0-loss teams, undefeated teams. So it's going to mean a lot. It's going to boost you up the rankings a lot. Your undefeated season is going to remain. Lots of interesting stuff to be told about this game. Two young first-year starters coming into this game. Obviously, Bryce Young, freshman last year, got a bit of playing time under Mac Jones. Obviously, that was in more meaningless moments in the season for Alabama because Mac Jones and that Alabama offense just love to run up the scoreboard. So there's no point in getting the guys injured. So Bryce Young did get some experience last year, but he is the guy for Alabama this year. And then you look at Emory Jones for Florida. We saw him a bit last season, more towards the end of games, sometimes when they pulled Trask and all that stuff. I think that this will be a very interesting quarterback matchup because these guys have so much talent and so much riding on them. A lot of people expect a lot from these two kids, but yet we haven't seen them play a full season. Let's remember, if you watch my SEC quarterbacks rank video, I have Emory Jones as my 5th quarterback, and I have Bryce Young as my 3rd quarterback in the SEC, and neither of these guys have played a full season of football starting for their team. So this is going to be both of their first big-time game. It's going to be really, really exciting. I want to talk about my keys to win before I get into my score prediction and my overall thoughts on the game. My keys to win for both teams. So first key I have is that for Florida, we'll go through Florida first. I think Dexter Carter and Shelton, obviously the transfer from Penn State, have to get up in Bryce Young's face early. At this point in the season, I don't think that Bryce Young will face any crazy pressure, especially not from Mercer. Miami, maybe there's a chance. I think they lost a lot on the D-line this season. Obviously, going off to the NFL, you look at Rousseau and you look at Jalen Phillips. Obviously, Rousseau didn't play the last season, but he opted out. But still, you lose those two guys on your defensive line. I think that this will be the first game that Bryce Young really, really faces pressure if those 3 guys that I just named really get up in his face and force Bryce Young to make bad throws early. Again, Bryce Young, yes, he's a 5-star guy. He's an amazing quarterback, got talent that can go through the roof. That doesn't make you exempt from making mistakes. And the one way to do that is to be able to rush his thoughts and get him to think quick, because that's when you make your errors. That's when you miss a linebacker, and that's when you take it to the house for a pick 6 for one of your quarterbacks, looking at probably Elam in this scenario. My next one, Emory Jones is going to have to make plays with his feet. I think Alabama's secondary and Alabama's linebackers are some of the best in the country. Alabama has an amazing defense this season. You're not going to have guys open on every single play. Therefore, I think Emory Jones really, really needs to use his legs, which he has. He's shown that he is one of the better rushing quarterbacks, maybe even the best rushing quarterback in all the SEC this season. So he's going to have to make plays with his feet. He's going to have to improvise to keep drives going for Florida and to keep them in this game. It's going to be very interesting to see how Alabama's defense plays Emory Jones early in this game. It's going to be very interesting. And my last key to the game for Florida, the rushing game has to be prevalent in some sense. Like, this Alabama team is not going to let Emory Jones go out and throw for 400. I don't even think 300, maybe even 200 plus yards. It's just not going to happen. I think this secondary is really, really good and really, really dialed in. And I think this linebacker core might be the best in the country. So you are not going to be able to throw the ball for 400, 300, 200 plus, and maybe 200 plus yards, but you're not going to have a field day in that sense. So you're looking at Malik Davis, you're looking at Dameon Pierce, and you're looking at DeMarcus Bowman. That 3-headed monster that you have there in Florida and that offensive line is going to have to work together to put something together. You're probably going to have to get, if Florida really wants to come out of this game with a win, I say one of those guys has to have over 100 plus rushing yards, because if you can establish a rushing game, I think that changes the whole outcome of the game for Florida, because, man, Alabama's secondary, I really feel strongly that Florida isn't going to have an easy time throwing the ball against them. So I think the running game will have to be huge for Florida to be able to come out of this game at home in front of their home fans with a win in this game. So those are my 3 keys for Florida. Let's go into my keys for Alabama. My keys for Alabama, kind of opposing one of the keys I had for Florida, contain Emory Jones. He is subject to mistakes. Same thing I kind of said with Bryce Young. Emory Jones is still subject to mistakes if you get him to think early and if you get him to be off balance and everything like that. Force him to throw the ball. We all know Emory Jones is great on his feet and everything. I still think Emory Jones has a really, really nice arm, but it's not perfect. He throws interceptions. He makes some bad passes, and that's where I feel like this Alabama secondary can really step up if they're able to contain Emory Jones. If they let Emory Jones run around like a free chicken or a wild horse, whatever you want to call it, Alabama's defense is going to get tired and it's going to be a rough night. So you really got to work on containing Emory Jones for this game. I think you need to blitz the linebackers early in this game. Look at your Christian Harris, Henry To'oTo'o. You got Christopher Allen. You got some really nice linebackers here in this Alabama linebacking core. I feel like blitz a couple of them early, get pressure in Emory Jones's face, and just make him feel that he has a brick wall to his back in his own stadium. I know that's how the fans make you feel when you travel into their stadium, but I feel like if you really get Emory Jones knowing that pressure is going to be coming in his face as soon as he snaps that ball, you got to make shorter throws. And that's when I feel like Alabama's secondary really takes over and is able to jump a couple of routes. You got some of the best linebackers. They can play man coverage and all that stuff. Blitz one of them and really get in Emory Jones's head. It's all about mind games. College football is a big mind games. And I feel like if you can really put that pressure and let Emory Jones know that early, he is going to have guys coming straight up in his grill, in his face mask, coming for him. He's going to have to make quick decisions. So that is my next one. Here's a really interesting thing, and it's kind of a key for this game. I think it is. Alabama, it's more of a statement and a key. I think Alabama's wide receiver 2 will rise in this game, and they will be marked down as the best guy. I think it's easy to say, even if you're an Alabama fan, that John Mechie, coming into the season right now in this current moment, is your number 1 wide receiver. He is kind of the guy that is the go-to guy. Of course, he almost hit 1,000 receiving yards last season, and that was being under Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle for part of the season as well. The kid's got talent that goes through the roof. There's tons of different guys on this Alabama receiving core, and I kind of went through that when I was talking about comparing Georgia and Alabama's receiving room. I feel like the number 2 guy or that second go-to guy, in this case for the wide receivers, will step up in this game because I think Elam will be on John Mechie in this game. Now, that doesn't mean I think that John Mechie is going to be completely taken out. I think Elam's one of the best cornerbacks in college football, but that doesn't mean that John Mechie is going to be completely executed from this game. No, but I feel like you're going to get a lot of coverage with these secondaries, and if you can have with the safeties especially, because I think Florida's cornerbacks, they got good cornerbacks, but they got a young safety group coming in this season. So if you can really attack the safeties and have your guy, whoever that is, I look at like Slade Bolden, you're going to have Jamison Williams, obviously the Ohio State transfer. I talked a lot about Ajayi Hall. If we want to, I said wide receiver 2, but maybe we want to talk tight ends. You could look at Billingsley. You could look at a bunch of different guys for Alabama. But in my key for this game, I think that number 2 guy for Alabama, whoever that's going to be under John Mechie, is going to have to step up and have a huge game here. That will be their leading receiver. I don't have John Mechie being the leading receiver in this game. I have that wide receiver 2. It all depends on who is that guy. So that is my 3 keys for Alabama. My overall thoughts, I don't think that this will be as high scoring as it was last year. I think that both defenses have improved, and I think that the offenses has taken a step back, and it's early in the season. Remember last year when we watched Alabama and Florida play each other? That was the SEC championship. That was all the way in December. Lots of time to work through the offenses. They kind of know their identity and everything. They've been working with their guys for a long time. This is week 3, and this is your first SEC game. So I don't think that the offenses will be as polished as they were in that last game. So I think it's going to be a bit of a lower scoring game than last year. Obviously, I still think that the scoreboard will be pretty high. Just don't think it will be as good as it was last year. I don't think that this game will be a blowout going into halftime. I have Alabama leading 24-17 at half. Of course, I think the atmosphere is going to play a huge part in that. Florida going to the Swamp is never an easy thing to do, and they always make it rowdy in there and tough for the road team. So I think this game actually is a bit closer at halftime, but after half, I think Bama starts to pull away. I really think that this offense just turns into another gear. I feel like you give them the halftime, you let them talk it over with the OC and everything like that. which I'm pretty sure is Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien is the OC at Alabama now. Nick Saban, let them talk about it. Let them adjust to what they see from that Florida defense. And I think Alabama's going to come out shooting in that second half. And I still think Alabama's defense is going to be very, very solid in that second half. Overall, I think Florida can hang with Alabama for 2 quarters, but it's just talking about a 4-quarter game. An hour of football is where I really question myself. I haven't seen enough of this Florida team yet to be confident in saying that they can last 4 quarters against Alabama and say that Florida is the better team in this scenario. So with that being said, I have my final score of this game. I have Alabama winning 45-31. Alabama puts up 40-plus points. Florida still puts points on the board. Like, don't get me wrong. I think Florida's offense will still have a good game here. In all of college football, the scoring is getting a lot higher, but I just don't think that the offense will be at that level yet that Alabama will be at, and I just feel like Alabama's defense is there more than Florida's is. Of course, it's early in the season, still lots to be told. Haven't seen either of these 2 teams play an actual game yet. Lots will be told within those first 2 games, but right now in this current moment of, let me check my phone, I think it is Monday, June 14th. I have Alabama winning 45-31. Got some more people in the chat. So we got MSU fan. How's it going? MSU fan, great to have you out. We got Carmen Clark. How's it going? How's it going, my friend? Love to hear from you guys. Then we got, sorry if I mispronounced this, Circa Sturd Devon. Go Dogs. We got a lot of Dogs fans in here. Lots of Dogs fans. We have someone asking me who will win the Stanley Cup. Must know I'm Canadian. I don't follow hockey, even though I am Canadian. I don't follow hockey really, really close, but obviously being Canadian, I still know a lot of stuff. I don't like the Canadians because obviously the Toronto rivals, even though the Maple Leafs aren't my favorite team, they're still the rivals of the Maple Leafs, and I don't like Montreal, but I think it'll be best for Canada if Montreal wins. I think that Vegas is going to probably win. They're the most probable, but I'm cheering for the Islanders, so I love that. You have Georgia, Alabama, A&M, Clemson, and then Oklahoma. Not going to say that. Oh, it's because Sam Bostic said Clemson and Oklahoma should join the SEC. Oh, yeah, I completely forgot about the Lightning. I apologize for that. Yeah, the Lightning are obviously the defending champions. I should obviously have said them. Who they go up against the Islanders, I'm cheering for the Islanders. I still think Vegas is probably going to be the best team in the Stanley Cup this year, but I think the Lightning easily have a chance. And going back about that, the Clemson-Georgia game, I talked about that. That was my second best versus the rest segment. And I can't remember. I know I picked Georgia. I can't remember the exact score, but I'm pretty sure that would have changed. My opinion would have changed because, yes, I know we don't like to say like, oh, 1 or 2 guys doesn't make the difference, but you bring in Eric Gilbert and you bring in Darian Kendrick to this team for Georgia. I think you have a very interesting game to be shaped out there, and I still have Georgia winning. I know a lot of people think, oh, Clemson's favored and everything like that. I think when they finally hit the field and you see how good this Georgia Bulldogs team actually is going to be, I still have Georgia winning. I think Georgia's the better team. And that's not just me being a salty Gamecocks fan because Clemson runs over us every year. We're in-state rivals. I really do. I don't like Georgia either. I'm not a Bulldogs fan at all. I still think Georgia is going to win this game. It's an interesting game because it's my 2 least favorite teams. But this is the one time that I get to say go Dogs with you guys because 127.76821% of me is going to be cheering for Georgia in this game. No questions asked. The rest of your family is Clemson fans, so that's going to be an interesting game for you because I see you got that Bulldog red and black as your profile picture. So, I mean, I'm being from Canada. I don't really have family that are any fans, but you're going to clown them once the game is over. I hope you are able to do that. I hope that Georgia is able to win, so you will be able to do that, Carmen. My best wishes go out to you and Georgia in that game. Can I hear Bernie in arm wrestling? What do you mean, can I hear him? Or did you mean beat? That's what we're actually thinking about something, me and Bernie. We might start doing some touchdowns to home runs Olympic stuff, so me and Bernie going at it in like different sports and everything like that. We're still in the making, but giving you guys a little sneak peek. and just some insight into what is going on here at TDSTOHRS. Lots of big things. Obviously, the North to South show has been very successful, and something that I am really happy that I started, because it seems like you guys, I have some great supporters here. I know we only have 9 viewers right now, but I remember the first episode and everything like that only had 2 or something. So it's growing. I appreciate you guys constantly tuning in for the live show, and we get lots of views on the clips too. So I really, really appreciate you guys. What do I think about the YouTube boxing, the Bryce Hall versus that thing? I mean, I don't get why we weren't invited. Like, we're YouTubers. We should have been invited to that. I was stepped in the ring with Bryce, but it was entertaining. I don't PPV it. I think that it's not worth my money to do it. I still watched it. I'm not going to say how I watched it, but I still was able to watch it. But it's entertaining seeing guys that you know are so popular on social media going at it and everything. Any more questions about college football or anything college related? And if not, we will be wrapping up the show. And I appreciate you guys tuning in. And of course, we will be back on Wednesday for hopefully, I know the last couple of weeks I have done a pre-recorded show for the North to South show on Wednesdays, but hopefully I'm going to be back. Everything changes because I just had things pop up at the last minute, but doesn't mean that I can't get you guys a great show. So I hope to be back live on Wednesday. Thank you guys all for tuning in. We'll take one more question from Sam Bostic. Who is your favorite MLB team? I will be right back because I will answer that question. There's only one answer for that. Go Blue Jays. Go Blue Jays. Only one answer. Being from Toronto, have to be a Blue Jays fan, even though I'm like a Bears and Blackhawks and Bulls fan. Have to stay loyal to the Jays. Carmen Clark, you've been watching since the start of the 2020 season. Appreciate you as always, my friend. Hope to see you around for the 2021 season because I'm telling you it's going to be a great one. And Sam says his favorite team is the Reds. I mean, I like the Reds. I think they got a nice stadium. It's going to be fun. So thank you guys for tuning in. I will wrap up the show there. Thanks for watching, guys. Like down below, comment, hit the sub button. Thank you for watching, and definitely come back next time.